our CCP meeting. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Ms. Nogales, and I'm the high school guidance counselor. And I'd like to thank Mrs. Middleton, my secretary in the back, and Mr. Calderwood, who's over here taping for those people that can't attend, or if you want to watch this again, it will be on our website. So, CCP, college and high school. We get right to it. So, eligibility. And all of these screens and everything you see today will be available on the LaBrae website, hopefully by the end of the week. Make sure, though, you are looking at next school year's presentation. So, any LaBrae High School student in grades 7 through 12 may apply. You must submit an intent form by April 1st to the school counselor. That is the most important thing for probably right now. April 1st deadline is a letter of intent, which I will show you later. It's on here. Students will be admitted to the college based on college readiness determined by the college. LaBrae High School does not determine whether or not a student is accepted. Participation in the college credit program will require an application, standardized test scores, recommendations from teachers and/or counselors, and possibly an essay. Each college establishes its own deadlines for the application process, and students must attend a mandatory counseling session and acknowledge by signing it. So there is quite a few paperwork deadlines. You'll hear that word over and over again. The ACT, February 11th, 2017 is the last time you could take the ACT to be eligible. Keyword is eligible for the CCP classes for the next school year, 2017-18. If you want more information on how to register, just go www.act.org, and the dates are on there. You register online. If your child's on free or reduced lunch, they do get 2 waivers. And as we go in the classrooms in the spring and we start scheduling, students hear this since they're in the 8th grade about the ACT and the waivers also. So that is the last deadline. This is new this year. It used to be an April deadline. It's now February. This is not LaBrae's. This is CCP rule. There's 2 options. Option A, students can earn college credit only. It does not affect their high school GPA, but parents are obligated to pay. And option B, which is the one that most people choose, students earn high school and college credit. It's reflected on your high school transcript, and there's no cost to the student. Support services. LaBrae High School provide, their guidance department will provide you with some help with College Credit Plus. However, students have to be like on our school campus to get that and make an appointment. The colleges will provide guidance for admissions and requirements and help you select your courses. Your college advisors will troubleshoot any course-related issues. Students and parents are responsible for pursuing appropriate counseling services. Remember, they are considered college students. So as we go on, I'm going to give you some examples of things that have happened this year, and the professors will tell you. You have to remember, they are a college student. So it's the student's responsibility to keep informed of academic and other requirements for all students who attend LaBrae High School. Scheduling. LaBrae will not alter their master schedule to accommodate CCP students. If possible, we will adjust your individual schedules. So you're going to see today that we have partnered with Kent and YSU, and we have a pathway where we offer classes that you schedule. Right when you schedule your classes at LaBrae, you would also schedule these. If you choose to do something else, we later have to adjust your schedule, and that adjustment doesn't happen until probably a few days before school starts, because colleges do not get you don't get your in there and scheduled until that point. So we do not alter our schedule. So for example, if you want to take calculus, and calculus is only offered 4th period, then you may have to pick and choose. The next one, you can earn up to 30 college credit hours per academic year, including a summer term. And later I have a screen on here that shows you how you reach that number 30. And if you're leaving LaBrae High School, it's best to schedule your college credit classes either in the morning or in the afternoon. to meet other academic needs or athletic needs, unless you plan on being on college campus all day long. But if you're just going to go there and take 1 or 2 classes, it's best to pick them either in the morning or the afternoon. Graduation requirements. All LaBrae High School graduation requirements remain unchanged, regardless of your involvement in CCP. It's your responsibility to discuss course alignment with your high school counselor. So if you want to replace your high school class with a CCP class, we have to make sure it's aligned, and you have to bring me a description of the course, and it has to align with one of ours, and it would replace your high school class. The grade of the credit that you earn in a college credit course will be applied to your high school graduation requirement coursework, and the end of course exams are required to meet high school graduation requirements. So if you replace a course that has an end of the course exam, you still have to take the end of the course exam at LaBrae, because that is a graduation requirement. Failing, or if you want to withdraw, failing a CCP class would result in F on your college and your high school transcript and earning no credit for that class. If a student receives a failing grade at the end of the college course, is expelled from school, or withdraws after the university's 100% reimbursement date, and that date is different for every college or university. So it's up to you to know when they stop. So for example, Kent's, when I talked to Robert, it's after the first week of classes. So after the first week of classes, if you plan on withdrawing, you will be financially responsible to pay for that class. Failing a college credit plus class could potentially affect your graduation, and failure to complete the courses, or if you earn an F, you will have the financial obligation. The responsibility of LaBrae, we have an annual notice. All of the information is on our website. We have a student handbook. We have a scheduling assembly where we go over it, and we have a CCP information night. CCP classes are free to qualifying students at public institutions, and families may have to pay the cost of CCP classes at a non-public institution. LaBrae will pay for the textbooks, and students are required to attend an annual counseling session. And when we say pay for textbooks, I'll go a little further. Depending on what school you go to, sometimes you have to actually go and physically get the textbooks, but we pay for the books. And then you have to return them because they're property of LaBrae. So notification of student participation. Students are not limited to participation in courses in LaBrae High School pathways only. Students may be enrolled in multiple institutions concurrently. So for example, you may take Mr. Klotzbach's Bio 3 class, which is YSU credit, and then you may also take a class through Kent State. So you'll be getting Kent State credits and YSU credits. List of courses offered at LaBrae High School provided in your handbook and on your scheduling sheets. So when kids go to schedule, and we will start scheduling, we start presentations at the end of January and schedule at the beginning of February, all of those will be available. CCP information is available on the LaBrae High School website. It's underneath the high school tab. So if you go to high school, go to CCP, and all of the information will be there. Students have the opportunity to participate in the summer term and 30 college credit hour rules. Students cannot exceed 30 hours of college credit per year. Students will be notified, and their schedules will have to be changed unless your family agrees to pay for it. And again, you're going to see how this 30 works. So this is a sample of what a student schedule could look like. So if you were taking Bio 3 as a CCP class at LaBrae High School, you would earn a credit in the fall and in the spring. So it would be 2 credits at LaBrae, 8 credits for college. If you were taking college writing 1 and 2, so this is first semester, second semester, you would earn 1 high school credit for the first semester, 3 hours, 1 and 3. And then if you were taking, these are your high school classes, 1 credit, there's a factor here, 1 times 3 is 3. You multiply your high school credit times 3. And then you have to add up all of those hours, which equal 26, and you cannot exceed 30 hours. So the college hours are straightforward. When you sign up for a college class, they tell you how many credit hours they are. We know when you sign up for LaBrae's biology or chemistry, we tell you, you know how many hours are going to be. The high school classes, if it's 1 credit, it's 1 times 3. If it's a half a credit, it's a half times 3. You add them up, and it cannot exceed 30. After 30, you have to pay for the classes. The responsibilities of the institution. So they're going to assign you an academic advisor to each student. You're going to have a mandatory meeting with students to discuss, and here's the things that they discuss. The resources that are available to you, your advisor, engaging faculty for assistance, code of conduct, academic impact, dropping the course after the withdrawal date, and any questions that deal with that particular college or university. So sometimes I tell kids, like, I work for LaBrae, you can't work for every college or every university, know every answer for that school. So just some reflection after our second year of doing CCP, and I always tell people that I have to say the good, the bad, and the ugly. Deadlines are very, very important. So students may miss out on important opportunity if they fail to meet deadlines. Like I said, you are a college student, so you have the same responsibilities as somebody that is taking a class at the college or university. I have a student this year that is taking a class online, and at the beginning of the year emailed their professor, I don't know, asking for an extension or something to that effect because they were a little behind and it was Spirit Week and it was done, and their college professor in capital letters wrote, "You are a college student." So they're not going to make any exceptions for you. You're a college student. They're not thinking you're in high school. Some problems that we have seen with some classes, especially more of those if they chose to not go with the schools we partnered with, they may require you to have a test proctor. LaBrae is not required to proctor your test for you, so that could become a problem. Communication with some college, they're all a little different. We've dealt with one that was, or I have dealt with one that was a little more difficult. Blackboard access code issues. For those of you taking college classes now, know about Blackboard, and if you don't, you will know about it soon. Orientation. Your orientation should be face-to-face. You should have a person that you know. You're going to meet Sharon and Robert today, and they're the ones that we deal with Kent and YSU, and I think I talk to both of them like on a weekly basis, right? So we always talk. So they know our students, and they're great about anything that we need. So some we've had some issues with some kids missing activities, dropping classes, receiving textbooks on time, lack of face-to-face connection, they don't know who somebody is, and sometimes students are just not ready at a certain age to communicate what they have to with the college or university. And remember, their parents not going to do it for them. They have to do it because they're a college student. So just some things to think about. High school versus college. So when you're in high school, you go to school 5 days a week, about 7 hours a day, and then you may play basketball, and during basketball season you have basketball some nights until 10 o'clock at night, and you get home, and you might have a really, really full schedule. This year, we've had some students manage their schedules a little bit better than the year before. Had a lot of tears last year with some kids that just overbooked some things, for kind of forgetting that they were still in high school and still wanted to do some high school activities. When you go to college, you may go to class only Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday and Wednesdays you might go in the morning, or you might have a 5-hour break in between classes. So the time frame is a little bit different. Is your son or daughter ready to attend classes on campus? So do you want them to physically, depending on their age, do you want them to go and be on college campus with 19, 20, 21-year-olds? Grades will be recorded on your high school transcript, which is also calculated in your GPA and your class rank. Grades will be included in your college GPA if the student remains with that college or transfers back. So I can give you an example. If you take a class through YSU, when you're in high school, you get YSU credit, and you transfer to Bowling Green. So the classes go with you. That GPA doesn't travel. But say after 1 year of Bowling Green, you come back and you decide I'm going to transfer to YSU, that grade stays with you, back to YSU, okay? So if you're taking CCP classes at a college or university that you plan to attend, that grade point average is going to go with you. Families are responsible for transportation and parking costs. Life after college for a 19, 20-year-old, if you graduate too early, sometimes they're concerned, depending on how much schooling you're going to go to. And of course, exams are required. So again, if it's a class that you have to take an end of the course exam, and you choose to take it through CCP, you still have to take your end of course exam at LaBrae. You still have to have athletic eligibility. No computer internet access for colleges outside of the pathway, and I'm going to show you a chart that shows our partners and our pathways and how they get first choice into scheduling in the classes into our computer lab. CCP classes could create a scheduling conflict. Sometimes it's difficult, especially if there are some high school classes or a particular teacher, something they really want to take. Depends when that class is offered and when their college class is offered. When you take a CCP class, that is not one of ours that you schedule at LaBrae. So you decide to take something at Kent Trumbull campus. You want to take 7 Ideas that Shook the Universe, which is a science, it's considered like a physics class, it's in the science department. Okay, if you take that, not sure where I was going with that, but okay, I'll come back to it. So families must follow the LaBrae High School CCP handbook and adhere to all those guidelines. Failure to do so may result in the consequences that restrict students from enrolling or placing a financial burden on the family. So far, we have been lucky with that. I've only had one student that's had to pay something, because we've done a pretty good job of getting the right kids into the right classes. And you'll see as YSU can talk to you a little bit about ACT scores. So what about your child's school day? Do you want them to do a LaBrae High School classroom with a LaBrae High School teacher? We have Chem 2 and Bio 3. Each of them give you 8 hours through YSU. You could be in LaBrae High School in our VLC with the facilitator, and you'd be taking either one of our classes that we offer on our scheduling sheet through Kent State, or if you choose to take another one. Do you want to go on a college campus, or do you want to take something online, which you can also do through your home? So just some questions. How many periods will your student attend LaBrae? Because the bottom is very important while you're at LaBrae. What type of freedom will they have during the day? What about a mandatory school meeting if they're not in school? How about returning to school for athletic events or extracurricular? I know that a lot of times coaches don't like sometimes to see if their kids are done at noon. They don't have to be back at practice until like at 2:30 or 3. What are they going to do for that 2.5 hours? But again, that's up to the family. And transportation. But important at the bottom is students must schedule 6 to 7 high school credits per year. With CCP classes, they could easily exceed that. You can only have 1 study hall while you're at LaBrae High School. So what will the rest of your day look like? Because remember, you can only reach that 30 hours for 1 school year. Summer term, for the purpose of limiting students to 30 college credit hours, the academic year will begin in the summer term. So the summer starts the new academic year. If you want to participate in a summer term, you must submit your letter of intent to participate early enough to apply and gain admission to the college and register for courses. And again, help from your school counselor, your guidance department really isn't available in the summer because we don't work in the summer. So, calculating credits. Most of our high school credits are 1 credit, which equals 3 semester hours. And an adjusted GPA. So this is an adjusted GPA for any student that is taking a CCP or an AP. And I'm really not going to talk too much about AP, but I can let you know that we have AP US History for 10th graders, and we have AP Government for 11th graders. The difference between CCP and AP, if you don't know the difference, AP is an advanced class that you take. You must meet the LaBrae requirement to get into the AP class. And when you take the class, obviously it's taught at a much higher rigor. And at the end of the year, you take an AP exam. If you score high enough on that exam, you'll get X amount of college credits depending on your score, depending on where you're going to school. There's not a guarantee, depends on how you do on that. CCP, you have to meet the requirements to get into the college, and then you take the class, and what you get in that class is what goes on your transcript. So they are a little different. You need an ACT score for CCP. You do not need an ACT score for AP. So if you look, an A is regular worth 4 points. If you're taking a CCP class, it's worth 5 points in A, and AP is worth 5 points. So it's going to be a little different. If you get a B is normally 3 points, but a CCP class or an AP class, they're 4 points. So that is our adjusted GPA for any CCP or any AP class. Athletics, and this really goes through Mr. Rowe, but you can just see there's a factor here. When you take classes, you must equal down here 5 all the time to be eligible to play a sport. So you know that if you have 6 classes and you fail 1, you still have 5 and you are eligible. So when you're taking CCP classes, Mr. Rowe has to figure this out, and it always has to equal at least 5 in order to be eligible. So we have partnered up with Kent State and Youngstown State University. Our pathway, this is what we offer at LaBrae High School, taught by a LaBrae High School teacher, Bio 3A and Bio 3B. The class is all year. You get 4 credits in the fall and 4 credits in the spring. Chem 2A, Chem 2B, 4 classes in the fall, 4 classes in the spring. They are all year classes at LaBrae, so if you're taking it, you're going to get fall and spring. So you're going to get 8 here, and you can get 8 there. Our other pathway we chose was Kent Trumbull campus. These are the classes that we are offering, taught online by a Kent State staff, scheduled into our LaBrae schedule. So when you get your scheduling sheets in February, you will see these classes on there. There'll be a web class, an Intro to Computers class, College Writing 1, College Writing 2, Psychology, Sociology, and these will all have honors in front of them because all of our CCP classes are considered honors classes. So these are our 2 pathways with our partners that we've chosen, Kent and Youngstown. At LaBrae High School, you can get a total of 34 hours. So we have some general education pathways. Online, we have honor psychology, honor sociology, the web, the computers, and the college writing. And we have a science pathway. So we have a lot of students that like to go into the sciences. And we have 16 hours taught by LaBrae High School teachers. So that's 34 hours without ever leaving LaBrae High School. Okay. So this is just a breakdown of LaBrae High School courses taught by a LaBrae High School teacher that's in our pathway. Online courses that are in our pathway taught by a Kent teacher. These are the easiest for you to schedule because they're on our scheduling sheets and you can get right into them right when you schedule. LaBrae High School has also partnered. And here you go. If you want to, like I said, if you want to go take 7 Ideas that Shook the Universe at Kent Trumbull campus and you want to do it online, you can do that. It's not going to show up on our scheduling sheet. It is a partner school that we have chosen, okay? So you'll get priority. I guess I should say these are priorities. And then non-partners are schools that we have not partnered up with. You're going to have more work to do on your own. You're going to have to do your own communicating, or your child's going to have to do their own communicating with them, and give me the dates and deadlines and have everything in on time, because I know deadlines and dates for Kent and Youngstown, but I don't know deadlines and dates for every college or university in Ohio. So these are who we partnered with. Okay. So this is what our handbook will look like. So you're going to see 2017-18, because it's for next school year. If you go on the CCP website right now, you're going to find last school years on there. For some people that are signed up for CCP this year, you might still have to go back to this year's. Okay, this is for next school year. So I've changed the forms a little bit. This is a parent-student acknowledgement forms. It's talking about all of these things that you're going to have to read, check mark, that you understand, parents and students have to sign. This is the letter of intent that you sign. Your student's name, their grade, parents' contact information, some phone numbers, and it just says that basically you plan on attending a CCP program. But if you notice, if you could read up here, it's kind of small, that's the April 1st paper that needs to be turned in. After April 1st, LaBrae School does not have to let you do a CCP class. You have to go through the superintendent's office after April 1st. So these are just some forms. These are the forms that you're acknowledging that you signed, that you had some CCP counseling, a contract, our textbook policy, which kind of breaks it down to if you take something in our pathway or not our pathway, textbook policy continued, a textbook form, and at the very top it tells students, anybody taking a CCP class, except for one taught by a LaBrae High School teacher, needs to turn this in by the dates. If you don't turn it in by the dates, again, there could be a financial responsibility. Sometimes, depending on where you go, you may have to staple and attach your books. If you take any of our classes that are scheduled on the LaBrae sheet that we offer, those are the computer classes, the college writing class, the psychology and sociology, Robert nicely brings the books and delivers them to us, so we don't have to worry about anything. He brings them to us. So this is the textbook form. Again, these dates will be on our website. It's up to the student to make sure they get the form into us on time. This is permission to release or to obtain some information. If you are replacing a LaBrae High School class, you need to turn this in saying what class are you not going to enroll in and what CCP class are you going to take. And then this needs to be turned in with a course description from the college or university you're going to go to, so we can accept it as one of those classes. I can give you an example to share somebody, and she was taking a class and it was called Brainwashed, and it was an English class. So it's counting as her 4th year high school English class. Well, I don't know, but with the title Brainwashed, I really wasn't sure what it was, so she had to bring me in the description, which at that university, it was in their English department, but the class was called Brainwashed. So it always will not be called College Writing 1 or College Writing 2, okay? So you have to bring me in a description of the course. If you're playing a sport, you're going to notice at the bottom, this form needs to be sealed and turned into Mr. Rowe so he could check eligibility. You have to do that at the end of every 9 weeks. Late arrival, early release. So if you plan on coming late to school because you're going to go to Kent, Trumbull, or Youngstown first, or you're going to leave school to go, you need to have this with the attendance office. Again, here's the universities that we have partnered with. There is Robert's contact information, there's Sharon's contact information, there's some application links that you can go to. Again, this will be on our website. we're going to get to some questions and answers. But first, before we get to questions and answers, I'm going to let Robert talk for a little bit, Sharon talk for a little bit, and then you can see if you still have some questions. So first up is Robert Ridgel, and Robert is from Kent State Trumbull campus. And he's just going to talk. He doesn't want to use PowerPoint.
Okay, my name is Robert Ridgel. I am an academic advisor at Kent State Trumbull campus. I am also the CCP advisor for all our students at our campus as well. I just want to go over some of our admissions requirements for our campus. Ms. McGowan's already talked about the classes that we're offering here at the high school that are fully online. They're 100% online. This year we were offering College Writing 1 and 2. College Writing 1 was in the fall. College Writing 2 will be in the spring. General Psych was this fall as well, and Intro to Sociology would be in the spring. So we offered those 4 classes, and then we also had 2 computer classes as well. So we had Intro to Computer Systems online, and we have an Intro to Website Technology course also that's being offered in the spring. Students have to apply to College Credit Plus through our website. They must go to our College Credit Plus webpage to complete the online application. If they go to the regular application, they will notice that it will say incoming freshman, transfer, graduate. There'll be a whole bunch of links to different, whatever their student status is. You're looking for CCP, so there may be a College Credit Plus tab. You click that, that should take you back to the College Credit Plus webpage to do that application. But please go to the College Credit Plus webpage, complete that application online. After you can submit the application, you also have to complete a CCP permission form. You can download the form, complete the form, parent and student must sign it, and then you'll turn it into our office. Also, high school transcripts are required, and we also need an ACT score. So if students haven't already signed up for the ACT for February, they need to do so. I believe the December one is coming up soon, so you may have already missed that date if you didn't already sign up for it. If you wait and take the April ACT, that may be too late. We probably won't get the scores in time to meet our May 1st deadline for fall, and definitely won't meet our April 1st deadline for summer. So they need to take the February one. If they miss the February deadline, Kent does offer a residual ACT at our Kent campus, but students would have to make an appointment with the testing center at the Kent campus in Kent, Ohio, and drive there, because we don't have the residual testing at the regional campus here in Trumbull County. So they would have to drive up to Kent to take that. They offer that test twice a month, so they would have to make an appointment up there to take that residual ACT, and that test score can only be used at Kent State. It can't be used at another university or college. Only Kent State will accept that ACT residual score. Now, if they take the national test through ACT, then they can use that test score anywhere. Some of our admission requirements. We are looking for students to be, we have a preferred admissions requirements for GPA. We're looking for a 3.0 or higher GPA for our students. And we're looking for a 21 composite score for the ACT and a 1060 on the SAT combined math and reading score. They also must meet remediation-free standards. The remediation-free standards for the state of Ohio right now is an 18 in English and the ACT, a 22 in reading, and a 22 in math. So they need to meet at least one of those ACT requirements, sub-scores on the ACT. Combined, the composite score is about a 21. But they have to meet at least one of those remediation-free standards to be able to take a college-level course in that area. We do have placement assessments for students who maybe they meet one of the scores but don't get the other one. We do have placement assessment in math, reading, and writing if they want to take, maybe they don't meet the math requirement but they want to take a math course later on, then they can take a placement assessment and they have to score high enough to be able to take that college-level course. Application deadlines. Summers, if they want to start in the summer, April 1st is the deadline to complete the application and get everything in. Transcripts, ACT scores, permission form. Fall semester, May 1st is the deadline, and for spring semester of next year, it'll be October 1st. Summer, we have summer sessions and they're very short. So if this is the first time that they're taking a college level course, I don't suggest they do it in the summer. Just because the summer sessions go really quick and they're really short. They run 5 weeks. We have some that run 8 weeks, but those go really fast. Students are in class. If they're taking it on campus, they're usually in class 4 days a week. They usually have an exam, quiz, homework every day. They could be in class 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, for 5 weeks. If it's online, it's going to go just as fast. They're going to have deadlines probably every week, even possibly every day, quizzes and homework, so the class is going to run really fast. So they're squeezing a 16-week course into a 5-week session, summer session. So I would suggest that they should probably start in the fall if this is their first time taking a college level course. And maybe next year, if they're still in high school, if they want to take a summer class, then maybe after they've gotten used to taking college level courses and they've done well in those courses, they may be up for taking a summer class. Delivery option, we talked about taking classes on campus, taking classes at the high school, and taking online classes. We're doing a combination of both. We have some students who are taking classes on campus and online, and then we have some who, if their high school offers college classes with their teachers at the high school, they're doing that as well. But they just can't exceed that 30 credit hours for the year. So I have one student who came in today, and I believe she's actually she's exceeded her hours after this fall. So this spring, she's going to take 3 college classes, but she has to pay for them out of pocket. So her and her parents have talked about it, and they're going to get a bill just like any of our other students, and they're going to have to pay that bill by the tuition due date for that class, because she's over her hours, because she started in the summer. So she started taking classes last summer, took some classes this fall, and she was taking classes at her high school as well that she was getting college credit for, so she's exceeding her hours. Okay. So we already went over the letter for intent to participate. That's the April 1st deadline, so you need to have that in to the high schools. Like I said, take the ACT or SAT. Make sure you meet those deadlines to register for those tests. Apply for CCP online. Our website is www.kent.edu/CCP. That is the direct web address for our CCP page. Complete and submit the permission form, which you can download from the web page, and then make sure you get the high school transcripts from your high school and sent to our campus. I have some handouts out here with all this information. I have information about applying or checklists. I have a list of classes that our students usually take when they're in the CCP program that we offer through Kent. And I also have a handout for remediation-free standards, what they have to meet on the ACT, SAT, and if they're taking placement assessment tests as well. And then I also have our CCP brochures. And we also got some magnets, if you want to put some CCP magnets on your refrigerators. We just got those in too. So, all right, so I'm going to turn, if you guys have any questions later, I'll be here. And I'm going to turn it over to Sharon to talk about YSU.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sharon Schroeder with Youngstown State University. We're going to start off by talking about the admission requirements for YSU's CCP program. I know you're all probably on CCP overload right now, so I will try to make it as brief as possible so that you can begin asking all of the questions I know that are burning in your minds about what's the next steps for my child to participate in this program. So at YSU, in order to participate in CCP, students have to meet the general admission requirements at YSU, which is a 2.0 overall unweighted GPA. So I know here at LaBrae you do weight your honors classes, so when we receive your transcript, we will unweight those grades. We do that so that everyone has an even playing field when it comes to evaluating transcripts, because not all schools weight their GPAs. So it's a 2.0 unweighted GPA overall. Then students have to have a 17 composite on the ACT in order to apply. They can also have the SAT equivalent. Now, all of these scores are on our website. If you didn't get a copy of our brochure when you came in, there are copies out in the lobby. Our website is on this brochure. I encourage you to review the website and look at those scores, especially for the SAT. The SAT changed how they score things in March 2016. So tests taken before that date are one set of scores, tests taken after or on that date are a different set of scores. So review that if you have the SAT in your past or future. Admission to the program is different than meeting course placement requirements. So you can have a 2.0 and a 17 composite and apply and be admitted to the program, but if you don't have course placement requirements for courses, you will not be allowed to take them. So for example, we follow the college readiness standards as well. We have an English sub-score of 18 on the ACT, math 22. Our reading score, however, is a 21. That's where we differ from Kent State in terms of what our college readiness standards are at YSU. And again, all of this is found on our website. So for certain classes that you would like to take, you might need to have a higher ACT score in certain areas. For example, students who want to take general biology or chemistry on campus need to have a math ACT score of 25. For the classes that are offered here at LaBrae, the department says we will lower that math score to a 22, provided that the students are meeting the college readiness benchmarks in English and reading as well. So for the classes offered here at LaBrae, students would need to have an English sub-score of 18, math 22, and reading 21 in order to enroll in those courses. If they do not, we will invite them to come to campus to do placement testing to try to place into those courses. For some classes on campus as well, they might again have to have higher ACT scores. For example, calculus on campus requires a math ACT of 27. Some classes, however, don't require all of the benchmarks. If you wanted to take an English or a communications class at YSU, you wouldn't need to have a math score. We would only be looking at your English and reading score in order to place you in those courses. We encourage you to read over our brochure and our website as you're making the decision of whether or not CCP and YSU is a good fit for you. There are a lot of things that Ms. Nogales went over today in terms of both benefits and important facts to consider. On the back of our brochure, we have a lot of those listed as well. Some things to just stress with you, though, is the calendar. If you decide to take classes outside of your high school, you will have 2 different calendars. 3, if you're going to both YSU and Kent, that you will have to manage in terms of when classes start and holidays, etc. Classes offered here at LaBrae through YSU follow the school schedule. YSU on campus and online classes follow the YSU schedule. So we start fall semester the 3rd week of August, and we're getting ready to go into finals week next week for our fall semester. Students start up again in the spring, January 9th, and will end the 1st week of May. We do not have Easter break. We do not get President's Day off. We do not get Columbus Day off. Those holidays fall at different times of the year. We have 1 week off in March, or at least our students do. We're not that lucky as staff. But we have 1 week off in March where students don't have classes. It does not coincide with the Easter holiday. So these are things that you really have to consider as you are making the decision on 1, is CCP right for us? And 2, where do I want to take those classes at? If you decide that you want to do the program, again, you need to make sure you fill out the letter of intent with your school by April 1st. YSU has 1 application deadline for the entire year for CCP, and that is April 5th. The last ACT test date we take for new applications is February. So if you have not signed up yet for the ACT, I know it's too late for December, you can still sign up for February. I encourage you to do so. You need to have at least 1 set of scores on file in order to apply to the program with us. We will take updated scores later on to help you with course placement, but in order to apply, you do need to have a set of scores. And the last test date we'll take for new applications is the February ACT. April 5th, again, is our one and only due date for the entire year. If you're accepted into the program, you will receive a letter from us in the mail. This letter will include your YSU ID number, your YSU email account, and directions on how to activate it. This is very important. Once you are accepted into the program, we will begin communicating with you through your YSU email account. We will not use personal email accounts. We will not use your parents' email accounts. We will only use your YSU email account to communicate to you about important due dates, placement testing, anything else that you need to do for the program. It's all going to come there. So it's very important that you are checking that on a weekly, if not daily basis. Students are required to see an academic advisor as part of this program, and when taking classes on the YSU campus, students will meet with that advisor every semester. However, for students who are taking classes here at the high school, we offer one of 10 half-day sessions in May, June, and August that you can attend and bring a parent with you if you wish. That will satisfy that requirement for the year. So if you're only taking classes here, the biology and the chemistry, then you can come to one of those half-day sessions over the summer and have your orientation and your advisement done for the entire academic year for the classes that you're taking through YSU here in your building. Students receive an ID card the first semester that they're enrolled, and then they also have access to all of our academic support services. This includes the Mathematics Assistance Center, the Writing Center, e-tutoring, library, anything in terms of academic support, students have access to that. Again, it is the student's responsibility to monitor their YSU email account and make sure that they're completing all their steps in order to participate in the program. Some fatal flaws, so to speak, that we see with students that stop them from enrolling in classes is that they don't check their email or they never activate it to see those important messages and due dates that they have to follow, or they just miss deadlines in terms of adding and dropping their courses. So it's all going to come through that email account, so we encourage you to make sure that you are checking it. And then finally, just one of the last things that when it comes to this program, that it really does provide you as the student the opportunity to start being your own educational advocate, so to speak. Pretty soon you're going to graduate and go off to college, and wherever that may be, you're going to become responsible for everything that you need to do in order to be an active college student on that campus. So what better way to practice what's going to be expected of you than by your participation in this program? Following up on emails, asking questions, making sure that you're getting all the to-dos that you need to do in order to participate checked off your list, meeting with your school counselor, etc., doing what's asked of you and asking those questions when they come up. Mom and Dad, once the student's enrolled in our program, there's this little federal law called FERPA that kicks in for us, and I won't be able to talk to you about their progress, but I can talk to your student. So it's really important for them to be communicating with us, asking those questions, and beginning to navigate the world that is higher education. If you find that you have any questions for me afterwards, I'll be here till the last person ends. I invite you to follow us on social media. We have active Facebook and Twitter accounts, and it's at YSU CCP. We post program updates, deadlines, college knowledge, college prep tips, all kinds of fun stuff out there. So everything, again, is on our brochure and our website. And if you have any questions for any of us, we'll take them now.
Yes, one thing. So if you go back on here, here's the information for Kent in Youngstown. It's going to be on the website. Okay? I'm just going to kind of say a little story that Sharon just kind of touched upon, which happened to quite a few of my students this year. They met the 17 requirement on their ACT, made the assumption that they were accepted, didn't follow into reading their email because, well, it was summer and they're high school students, and I don't always like to follow my school email either in the summer. So they didn't do it, and the day before school started, I started getting all these phone calls from these students that, well, I thought I was accepted, but I'm not. Now I can't take this class and get college credit for it, so I need to change my schedule. So, I don't know if you've ever been to my office the day before school starts. It's a little crazy, and then it added about 5 more students that needed schedule changes. So, had they read their emails, they probably would have known, but you just can't make that assumption just because you get that 17 The average ACT score in the state of Ohio right now is a 22. That's the average score. If you want to see scores, you can go ahead and Google it. There's all kinds if you want to find out what different universities, what their average is. But the average in the state of Ohio right now is a 22. So just because somebody sometimes has a 17, you know your child better than anybody else. You know their schedule, you know kind of what they're capable of doing, okay? So everybody, when I talk to, it's almost like an individual conversation you have to have with people. Because you know your child best. What are they capable of doing? Again, are they going to advocate for themselves? Because you're not going to go onto Kent or YSU's campus. They are going to have to go do it, okay? They're college students. So what are they ready for? That was my chemistry story, but again, you know your child's best. And my last thing, before we get to our questions, are the most important thing are our deadlines, okay? Things will be posted on our website. You're going to see ways to stay connected with us. And it is up to them to turn in their forms on time. So I am the CCP coordinator for LaBrae, but I'm also in charge of lots of other things. So when their important day is the day before the April 1st paper has to be in, you know, I have lots of other responsibilities. So they need to follow those, they need to be proactive, and they need to not procrastinate. And again, they're college students. So some ways that you can follow us are on Twitter, our LaBrae website, Viking Nation, and the Remind app. If you are not signed up for the Remind app, you have a smartphone, you may want to sign up because CCP students, as we start using this more, will start getting more notifications this way. So next year, they're going to get notifications on our website because we're trying to get some access to that CCP portion. So Mrs. Middleton can post things on there frequently and through the Remind app. So if you do not or are not on the Remind app, if you have a smartphone, you can do it right here. Or if you do not have a smartphone, there's also a set of directions. And again, these will be posted on our website. So let's go back to questions. Does anybody have a question? Jennifer. Does your grade from the 5.0? Only high school one. Only in high school, yes. Yeah, that's a LaBrae. That's going to be on your LaBrae transcript. That's your LaBrae GPA. Okay, yes. I think I saw somebody else.
Yeah. My son is an upcoming freshman. So what classes are available for them? He's obviously not in Bio 2 or 3 or anything like that yet. So what's available for high school freshmen? And then how do they do placement since they haven't done ACT?
You will have to have an ACT score to get into those. So, of course, he'd have to meet our requirements to get in Bio 3 or Chem 2, which he's not going to have the prerequisites to get into them, okay? He's going to have to take his ACT and kind of go from there. Do we have anything on our, you know, if he meets the requirement, he could take a class, then he can take whatever class that he would want to take. If he would want to replace the class, then he could replace the class. If he just wants to take like a general elective, he could take a general elective. But he'll need the ACT score to begin with. And the ACT doesn't matter what grade your child's in, they need that ACT score. Yes?
So when you went to sign up for that last year, you could take the multiple choice portion and then there was a written portion. For these colleges, if they want to do like in the school right now,
Right.
your personal portion, do they have to do the written portion? We don't require it.
No. Usually, even to go into college, they need one writing sample. That's it. So they're just looking at your composite and the breakdown.
So I don't understand. If your composite grade is, I think you said 17, but all 3 grades are higher than
arts in one or more areas.
So it would be like she got a 16 in the math and then 22s in the other two.
It could be. I've had students come across my desk that have met a 17 composite, have a 27 math score, and have 16 in English and 15 in reading. It just, yeah, it's just, it varies. It really depends on your student and how strong they are in each of those areas. The science score, unfortunately, there's not a college readiness benchmark in science, but that science score still adds into the overall composite. So it's really 4 scores that they're averaging out to get that composite.
And that first placement assessment test comes into play also. So if maybe they need to score reading, but they don't have it in math, then they'll have to take a math placement assessment. And they'll have to score high enough in the math placement to take a college with math.
So for placement next fall, what's the priority? Do you schedule the CCP courses to see which ones you get into?
That's a good question.
Then...
Yeah, that's a good question. So I was going to tell you the next step from here that we do, obviously, is we're going to put our stuff on the website, but your student will be scheduling in, we have a plan for end of January, beginning of February. So what we do is I do a presentation out of their English class, one whole period per grade. Okay, so one day I do all 11th grade, 10th grade, all the way down to 8th grade. And during that time, we will cover all the classes that we have to offer. We will also cover what prerequisite you need to get into it, and that is our academic handbook, and the academic handbook is online. Pretty much our academic handbook, we tweak it a little bit every year. We change some things, we add some things, we take some things away. But if you want to take a look at it, this year's academic handbook is on our website underneath LaBrae High School, okay? Go to the academic handbook and you can kind of see. So the first thing we have to do is anything that we offer at LaBrae. So that was the bio and the chem, those were in kind of our pathways. And then the college writing, the psychology and sociology, and the computer class. Those you can schedule right on your LaBrae schedule. And when we build your schedule, it goes on there. So when you sit individually with me and I go through, you have to schedule 6 to 7 classes because you are only allowed 1 study hall. So we have 8 periods, 1 period's lunch, you can have 1 study hall. If you don't want a study hall, you'll be scheduling 7 credit hours. I shouldn't say classes, I should say credit hours, okay? If you want a study hall, it will be 6. You are scheduling what's on that sheet at that time because I don't know anything else that you could get into. Because pretty much if you sign up for college writing, Robert's going to get you in college writing, okay? But say you want to take oceanography, and it's not on our course selection sheet, and you want to take that, there's a good chance you can get in, but so you know, when you take a class as a CCP student, all of the college students get to schedule first. And then the high school students are the last to schedule. Okay? So once they've scheduled, you get to schedule. So you're not guaranteed that any of those other classes you're going to get into. So then what happens is, then, right before school starts, if you want to take anything that's not on our scheduling sheet, you have to come and see me during one time, make an appointment to come see me during my summertime, and we adjust your schedule. So you may say, Ms. Nogales, I'm going to drop band, and I'm going to take oceanography instead, okay? Or you may say, Ms. Nogales, I am going to go to Kent Trumbull campus in the morning, so I'm not going to take Bio 3 next. I'm going to be at Kent Trumbull campus, and it's offered in the morning, so then we have to. But again, we do not change our LaBrae schedule, so we have to make those 2 things kind of work. And I have seen kids in some predicaments when they haven't done the online classes, which is why the online have worked a little bit better for some kids. A, the transportation. B, I think parents feel a little more comfortable that their kids are at LaBrae High School and not leaving and going to somewhere else. But again, that's a family decision. So that's kind of the next step. Everything will be on our website. We will schedule. I'll do a classroom presentation. We sit individually with them and go over it. We schedule the sheets. April 1st, everybody has to have their letter of intent. If you remotely think you're interested, you turn that in, okay? Even if later you don't do it, you've at least turned in your letter. Because after April 1st, schools do not have to let you in, and it's up to the superintendent of the school to give you that permission. So April 1st, form, then we meet again and we go over it, and some of those forms will ask you, and you'll tell me, as I'm scheduling, kids will kind of tell me what their interests are and what they plan on doing. We have had probably this year most success with people doing classes online and staying here. Again, I think just especially age-wise, maybe if they're still underclassmen or juniors, parents feel a little bit more comfortable. We can get them into, again, our lab, and they can take it during our school day. So they don't have to leave. They can still take the classes from high school that they want. It's still kind of like their high school, but getting some college credit. But again, those are some family decisions that, you know, you have to make. Every kid's a little different. Families are different. But deadline dates, I hate to say it one more time, are so important, and students being extremely responsible for those. You do not want to get the financial burden later because you missed a deadline for textbooks or something. Any other questions? Yes? Okay.
One, if a kid decides to go to TCTC, does that, can TCTC kids take this program?
Yeah, so there's some different things. TCTC offers their own set of classes at TCTC, okay? So do you have a 10th grader this year that's thinking about going? Okay. So TCTC has their own kind of set of classes, but we also have kids at TCTC that are doing some of our online classes. The thing about a TCTC schedule is when you go to TCTC, they have 3 academic classes a year, and the rest is in their lab, okay? So it's always in English, a math, and then either science or government, depending on what year you're in. So they don't have a lot of extra room like we do. We have a lot of extra room, especially your junior and senior years. So they don't have as much extra room, but they have classes there that count. And you can also, as long as you qualify, I've had students that were TCTC students that have taken like our psychology and sociology class online, kind of during their own time, or if it worked in their schedule with TCTC.
Second one, say she decides to do this and she goes to the capital online, and then she wants to go to OU after she graduates. Do those credits transfer to Ohio University or wherever she
Yes.
wants to go?
Okay, so I can't 100% guarantee you because I don't work for the college or the university, but you can go on, there's a website, the transfer website, and you can plug in where you're going and where you took the class and where you're going, and it will tell you where you will accept it. I will tell you that most schools that I have had to deal with in the state of Ohio have partnered, and they're pretty good at transferring them. A lot of kids, you know, like I said, start off at Bowling Green or start off at Ohio State, and then they end up coming back to Kent Trumbull campus or to YSU, and those classes transfer. But because I don't work for them, I can't specifically tell you because, you know, all schools are a little different. But if you go on the transfer website, if you Google it, it'll come up. You can put YSU and put where you want to go. And it's kind of hard when they're young because they're not 100% guaranteed of, I mean, there are some kids that know exactly where they're going to go, but usually when they're younger, they're still tossing up a couple schools. Any other questions? Yes?
I just want to make sure that this is correct.
Okay.
You had said the letter of intent by April 1st, right?
April 1st.
But I really think the first date is really taking the ACT before
Yes.
in February. You really need to know then, because what good is it?
If you don't have a February baseline score to go by,
Right.
then yeah, you
So
can't, right.
That's really, for all of us, that's the first date really for
Yes.
us.
Some kids, there's a lot of kids that already have an ACT score, just like there are some people that have kind of already have, you know, heard this a while, but yeah, if you do not have it, they need the February score. Yeah, you can't do anything without that score. Yes.
If you're a student athlete who's looking to be recruited,
Mm-hmm.
with this 5-point GPA system, could that be a detriment for that student if they don't do as well in these college level classes compared to just a normal high school class GPA?
GPA?
Well, I mean, your GPA is always looked at. So if you're going to take a college class and you're not going to do as like, you're not going to do as well if it's going to drop your GPA.
So if you're
Yeah, those are some tough decisions. And I schedule kids every year, and I schedule them even into some LaBrae classes that we have those conversations. You know, your GPA versus the level of the class that you're taking. It just depends how low of a score they get. Yeah. But then again, your ACT is also a big thing to get into school. So they really, you know, your ACT is they're really gonna look at that. ACT, GPA, and they look at the classes that you've also taken. So it's kind of a combination of three things. You can have a really high GPA and never have taken a difficult or one of our most academic hardest classes. Never taken a CCP class. Somebody else may have taken those, maybe their GPA is not as high, but they've taken a lot of college preparatory classes. Probably prepared a little more for that. So there's a lot of things to weigh out when you schedule classes and you look at those. Yes?
If they wanted to replace their English lab with the college English lab,
Yes.
and it wasn't in the pathway, are they allowed to take it online here?
The first ones that get scheduled are classes that are in our pathway. So if there is enough room in the computer lab, then they can get scheduled. But the first ones are our students and our pathway. So if there's room in there, they can. If not, they'll have to do it in the evening on their own time. But again, you have to remember they can only have one study hall, LaBrae. So you can't say, well, I'll just take an extra study hall. They still can only have one study hall. Yes?
CCP Plus is offered to 7th and 8th grade students?
Yes, as long as you meet
All of those,
all of those requirements.
all of those courses that you showed?
Well, first you have to take the ACT, and you have to meet that requirement to get in. And then if you want to take one of those courses, you have to meet the requirements to get into that course. So your 7th grader can't take Bio 3 at LaBrae because they haven't had Bio 1 and Bio 2, and our requirement says you have to have Bio 1, Bio 2 to get into Bio 3. Okay?
Give me a scenario like.
So your 7th grader could meet all the requirements, and they could take psychology, they could take sociology, they could take 7 Ideas That Shook the Universe, they could take oceanography, they could take music appreciation, anything.
They can take any class they qualify for, but I encourage you, if you have a 7th or 8th grader, a rising 7th or 8th grader that you're thinking about doing this program, please think long and hard, because you are starting your high school transcript with these classes. It doesn't go against the middle school curriculum. It starts, it's no different than taking 8th grade, Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Do you do Algebra 1 in 8th grade here? It counts for high school credit. So it's the same concept, okay? So if you get a C in a college class as a 7th or 8th grader, you're essentially starting out your high school transcript with a 2.0. It's very hard.
It's hard to bring it up at the beginning.
Especially when you're counting on scholarship money as a graduating senior to go off to college. So please think long and hard, with younger students especially, about whether or not they really will be able to handle this. And if you want to try, that's great. There's these deadlines out there that they can withdraw and not have any academic impact on their GPA. But you have to be monitoring that and paying attention to what those are. Because after a certain point, it will be a grade no matter what.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so pretty much the best course in acting might be just the AP.
Probably the best if you were in 8th grade is to take like APS and algebra. That count as your high school. Maybe start practicing your ACT and get a borderline score of where they are. It's hard to tell before you take the ACT. I mean, I have 4.0 students that don't have the highest ACT score. And then I had a student one year that I wasn't sure if he was going to graduate, and I'm not joking you. I wasn't sure if he was going to graduate after the week before, and he took it one time and got a 29. So it's hard to tell. It's nice to get like a score and then set a goal from there. and then you can see as a 9th grader. Yes?
Okay, I'm just asking, you say you have psychology scheduled for the first half of the year, sociology scheduled for the second half.
Yes.
You go through sociology, psychology, or whatever that first course is, and you're finding that your students just, it wasn't cut out for you.
Yes.
What is the drop time for dropping off of that second class, that second semester class?
Well, right now, tomorrow, I'm actually dropping 3 kids that scheduled over that 30 because they made the assumption that 30 was 30 credit hours at a college or a university. They weren't counting their high school classes. So I met with kids about 2 weeks ago to go over that with them, and I had 3 that went over the 30, even though they know the 30, but they weren't thinking that way of 30. So they have to drop them. It's not next semester yet, so
it's not
yes. Once the university says LaBrae does not get the 100% reimbursement back, which is usually once the class starts.
Like 1 week into
Yes.
that next semester.
Right, but if you're in, I have a student this year that's in some classes and just maybe didn't have as good of luck as she thought, okay? And of course, good student, but different atmosphere, and you get an email, and you don't even read your email carefully, which is what happened, and you miss a test, there goes your grade. And guess what? Again, you can't say, come to the person and say, Frau, I'm so sorry, I missed my test. You know, Frau knows you, and pretty soon she gives you like 30 seconds of a hard time, and then she lets you take, you know what I mean? Guess what the college professor said? You're a college student. Read your emails, and you know. So she's dropping, taking as many classes for next semester. So you can, if you're in the first semester and you want to drop, you don't have any problems. It's when you drop and you're withdrawing past that and LaBrae's not going. So basically LaBrae would be paying a portion and you weren't taking. Yes. And again, that's their responsibility because we're dealing with, you know, if I'm dealing with them, I know their dates. If I'm dealing with another university, I don't know all of their start dates are different, their withdrawal dates are different, their textbook dates are different. Returning textbooks. I had to return to a different university last year, and they gave 3 days. And by the time I got the email, gave them to Mrs. Jones. She boxed them, put them in the mail, you know what I mean? And so they wouldn't reimburse us because it wasn't, yeah. So every school's it's different, but you're okay with that question.
If you have a student taking one of our online, 100% online classes at the high school, I would suggest that they want to drop the course or do it by the first week of when the class starts. I had one student this year that did wait until the second week, and we were still able to drop them. They dropped at 80%. So the school may or may not get charged at 20% for the course, but the class won't show up on their transcript. They don't have to pay for the course. But I'd rather do it during the 100% refund period than to show up on their transcript. There's not negative, there's no negative effect on them being charged anything. The class doesn't even show up at all. So it's just gone. So I tell them if they're going to drop a class, then probably do it either before the class starts or by that first week of class. Every so often I have a student drop maybe in the second week and we drop it at 80% and it still doesn't show up in their transcript. But I say it's up to the high school whether or not they may charge you anything outside of that. If they wait to after the second week and it's a W, it's a withdrawal, and it's a W on their transcript, they will get charged for the class. So they will get a bill from their
Yes.
Kind of similar to what she was asking a little while ago. Okay, her being in 8th grade going into 9th grade. Okay, like she doesn't have the biology, she don't have the requirements for the bio-3, the chem. What classes are available at LaBrae for like a 9th grade student without all those other requirements?
She could take the psychology, sociology, the computers, yes. Those are just like general kind of elective courses, okay? Other than that, then she could look at like Kent, if there were any other courses on there. They have some other just general electives that maybe don't have that requirement to get into, that she could get into.
But that would be, she would have to go to Kent.
No, she could still do them online. She could still do them online, yes.
Be done at the school though, or online at home?
She would be scheduled, and as long as she picked, as long as she did through them, she could schedule in first, because they are in our partnership with us. Okay? So there's a little bit different requirements, like then she'll be required to go get her own book, she'll be required to go schedule with him, she'll be required to bring me her schedule and adjust her LaBrae schedule. When they schedule a class that's already at LaBrae, it's all done in the spring, and it's already on their schedule, and he brings me their books, and they don't, it's just like if it was kind of taught by one of our teachers, it's already on there. There's just a couple other little things that they have to do. Any other questions? Okay, so remember, it'll be posted on our website. If you follow us on the CCP on our website, and if you haven't signed up for the Remind app, parents and students, please sign up for it. Thank you. If you have any questions, we'll be here.